Rocky and Priya had been married for a few months. Rocky was a responsible and hard-working husband, but Priya was very lazy. She avoided doing household chores, spent most of her time on her phone, and didn't take Rocky's words seriously. Rocky tried to explain things to her lovingly many times, but nothing changed. So he came up with a unique plan to teach his wife a lesson. One morning, Priya woke up late and saw a new girl working in the house. Surprised, she asked,
Who are you and what are you doing in my house?
The girl smiled and said,
My name is Liza, and your husband hired me to do the household chores.
Priya was shocked, but since she didn't like doing housework anyway, she felt happy that now she wouldn't have to do anything. She relaxed and continued using her phone. Little did Priya know that her husband was even smarter than she thought. After 2 days, Priya started noticing something unusual. Rocky was being overly nice to Liza. First, he asked her to bring tea to the garden, and when she did, he stopped her to chat. Rocky said with a smile,
Liza, you are so hard-working. It's rare to find someone like you these days.
Priya watched all this from a distance. A warning bell rang in her mind. In just 2 days, this girl has taken over my house. If this continues, she will take my husband too. This fear woke Priya up. She realized that if she didn't take charge of her house, she might lose everything. She started walking with Liza to keep an eye on her, making sure she didn't get too close to Rocky. But the strange thing was that whenever Priya did any housework, Rocky would still praise Liza and say,
Liza, you do all the work so well. Priya should learn from you.
Hearing this, Priya started feeling her home was in danger. It seemed like Rocky was thinking of making this beautiful maid a part of his life. She became really worried that Rocky might leave her and marry Liza. Finally, after 2 days, Priya went to Rocky and said,
This maid has been here long enough. Fire her immediately. I will do all the housework myself. It's not that difficult. I can finish everything in just 2 hours.
Rocky smiled and nodded, as if this was exactly what he wanted to hear. When Priya actually started doing all the housework, 2 days later, she angrily asked Rocky,
Tell me, why were you so interested in that maid? Is your standard so low that you could fall for a maid?
Hearing this, Rocky laughed and said,
Seven Liza is actually an old friend from my university. She helped me with this plan to teach you a lesson. I just wanted to show you that if you don't take responsibility for your home, someone else will.
Priya felt extremely embarrassed. She realized that her laziness had put her position in danger. From that day on, Priya's laziness disappeared, and she took full responsibility for her home. Rocky smiled and said,
This is exactly what I wanted, my love.
Sometimes, words aren't enough to teach a lesson. Only a clever strategy works. A little cute 7-year-old girl, Priya, was playing with her toys. Her house was shining because her mother had just cleaned it. The floor was wet, but Priya, lost in her own world, didn't notice. Suddenly, her mother fell from the stairs. She hit her head badly and became unconscious. Priya ran to her mother.
Mom, open your eyes.
But her mother didn't wake up.
Scared, Priya picked up her mother's phone to call her father, but the phone screen appears. Enter password. Priya's heart started beating fast. She tried to enter the passcode, but the phone didn't unlock. Crying, Priya ran to the neighbor's house and asked for help. The neighbors quickly took her mother to the hospital. The doctor sadly said,
Due to internal bleeding, she has lost her eyesight. If she had come a little earlier, her eyes could have been saved.
Priya's mother felt deep pain in her heart.
I wish I had never put a password on my phone.
From that day, little Priya started doing all the household work because her mother could no longer see. Years passed, Priya grew up, and she got married. A year later, she had a baby boy. She was very happy to see him. 20 years passed. Priya's son, Sanjay, had now grown up. One day, Priya told him,
Son, never put a password on your phone.
but Sanjay took it as a joke and set a password on his phone. One day, Priya explained to her son Sanjay that his grandmother lost her eyesight because they couldn't reach the hospital on time. This happened because his mother had set a password on her phone and I couldn't call her father to take her to the hospital. Priya advised Sanjay not to set a password on the phone, as anything could happen any time. One day, Sanjay was traveling in his car when he had an accident. He became unconscious. He was on a lonely road where no one was around. An hour passed. Then a boy passed by. He picked up Sanjay's phone and tried to call his family. But enter password. The boy had no choice but to take Sanjay to the hospital. When the boy took unconscious Sanjay to the hospital, the doctors said that Sanjay's condition was very critical and blood needed to be arranged quickly. However, the boy couldn't call Sanjay's parents because Sanjay's phone had a password. After a few hours, when Sanjay regained consciousness, he provided his parents' phone number. Upon hearing about the accident, Sanjay's parents rushed to the hospital, but by then, Sanjay's condition had worsened due to the delay in blood. As a result, he remained seriously ill for months. Then, he remembered his mother's words. Never put a password on your phone. After that day, Sanjay never put a password on his phone, but realizing this had no benefit because time had already passed. Press the subscribe button to watch more videos.